All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is our week 7 Luke's Fat to Fit journey summary. All right, I gotta bring it down a level. All right, this has been a fairly decent week. We're gonna get into some of the things that went well, some of the things that did not go so well, and if we need to do any course corrections. And of course, at the end of the video, as always, I take my shirt off and we take a look at things and see how well or poorly I'm doing. So, we started off the week on day 45, Monday, at 239 pounds, following my cheat days, so it went up. That was expected. By the end of the day, week today, Sunday, day 51, I weighed 232 pounds, which is very, very nice, but I've hit that weight before on my journey, so it's not like a new personal record or anything like that. So one of the things that was a setback kind of in this week is my wife and I went on a little mini vacation, an overnight vacation out of town on Wednesday night and got back on Thursday, which means that we ate a bunch of junk on Wednesday afternoon and night, and then Thursday morning we ate a bunch of junk too. So definitely the diet was just thrown all out there. I was eating carbohydrates and I was mostly eating like normal people eat, I suppose, when they're on vacation, which is probably not very good. So things went up from there after I weighed myself getting back from vacation. The next day or the day after that, I was at 247 pounds, but that came down pretty quickly down to today where I'm at 232. So there was a decent recovery there, but I'm sure that eating all that junk put me back. I also only got to the gym twice this week. My goal was 3 times. I got there twice. So that also probably impacted things. But the interesting observations that I have from all of this are, first of all, if we look at my graph, which we'll do a little bit later, actually, we could probably pop over to the graph right now. What you notice here is that my weight loss is kind of plateauing. There was a good downward trend, and then it started to plateau, and that's kind of where I'm sitting at this plateau. Now, the other interesting thing is that my waist measurement has been going down. So when I first started doing all this, I was over 44 inches on my waist. This morning, I measured my waist, and I was 43 3/4 of an inch. 0.75 of an inch. Now, the tricky thing, the crappy thing, the reason I don't like measuring my waist is that you could put that tape measure a little bit too low or a little bit too high, just by a little tiny bit, and it really dramatically impacts the measurement of your waist. Like, I can measure my waist 3 times in a row and get different measurements every single time. It's really tricky to get that thing in the exact same spot. So I always take waist measurements with a grain of salt, almost any body part measurement, honestly, because except for maybe the biceps, it's really hard to get that little tape. And I have a specific body tape measure that I use, but it's hard to get it in the exact same spot, perfectly placed, to get a reliable, accurate reading time and time again. So I always take waist with a grain of salt, but my waist has been going down. It looks like my wife has mentioned that she thinks that the waist is going down, that I look a little bit slimmer, and all that kind of good stuff. So it feels like I'm slimming down, even though my weight is kind of plateauing. Also, when I go to the gym and I'm lifting weights, my strength is at least the same as it was before. I feel like some of the movements, especially push-ups, are getting easier for me to do. I'm cracking out more push-ups easier than I did before. Now, some of this might just be due to training. You just get used to it and stuff, even if your strength maybe hasn't gone up or it has or something. So my point is that it's possible that although I'm slimming down and losing fat, I may be gaining muscle, but that's kind of considered a unicorn. Usually that doesn't happen. Folks rarely have that happen to them. So it could just be a psychological thing. All right, the other thing that I've noticed as well is that even though I only went to the gym twice, I still had a really good week when you just look at the amount of weight that I went down and where I'm sitting there. I had previous weeks where I went to the gym like 4 or 5 times, and my weight did not come down like I would have expected it to. It went up or stayed, it was a mess. And so thinking about that, I'm wondering, and this is something that I talked about in my previous week's update, is that the intermittent fasting that I was doing was making me really, really, really hungry, especially when I got back from the gym. And so what I'm wondering, this is something I'm spinning in my head here, is if going to the gym fewer times is reducing my appetite. Like, I just don't work out really hard at the gym, so I don't get home and am like starving and want to eat a whole bunch of things. Even though I try to keep it to good stuff, I still have a desire to eat a whole bunch of stuff. And now that I go to the gym fewer times, my appetite is more moderated and in control, and I don't feel myself starving and really wanting to eat a whole bunch of stuff. And so I'll eat my healthy options, the things I'm supposed to eat, and I feel satisfied without crazy cravings. When I was going to the gym and intermittent fasting, I would have crazy cravings. So I think there's something going on there, and I'm kind of still spinning it around in my head, trying to figure it out and think it through. But it's just an interesting observation that I've had, and we're gonna see where we go with that. So, conclusions for this week. I already showed you the graph. We already saw how things were kind of plateauing off, but I think that I probably need to stick with my plan for another week before I consider any crazy changes, because the fact of the matter is even though I had a blip in the middle of this week, it was a pretty good week. The results were pretty satisfactory to me. So I think that I need to buckle down more on my Thursdays when I have a cheat meal with my wife. We go out to eat on Thursday evenings. I need to make sure that that is just one cheat meal, like one reasonable cheat meal, and not like a binge for the entire day. I want to make sure we clamp down on that. I want to make sure that we get to the gym 3 times and otherwise follow our food plan. But I don't think that I need to make any radical changes right now. I want another week following the plan to see how things go, but really stick to the plan this time as opposed to having these blips that are setbacks. The next thing, this is the big thing for me. My blood pressure is too high. It's not crazy high, but it is not within the accepted parameters. I have a blood pressure cuff. I measure it from time to time and stuff. It's still remaining too high. So I've already cut out alcohol completely. I do not drink alcohol anymore. I cut that out 2 or 3 months ago. I think in January, I cut that out completely. So no more alcohol. But the other thing, and I avoid a lot of the other things on the like bad foods that raise blood pressure list. But the thing that I have not cut out is caffeine. I still drink coffee in the morning. I use like half decaf and half caffeinated. So it's like a low amount of caffeine, but it's still caffeine. And on the list of things not to eat to lower your blood pressure is caffeine. So I want to cut out caffeine pretty much completely from my diet this week. The coffee in the morning that I drink is going to be decaffeinated. Throughout the day, I drink tons of tea throughout the day. I drink herbal tea, which has like no caffeine in it. And I also drink green tea, which obviously has caffeine, though less than coffee does. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to mostly switch to purely decaffeinated tea. So the herbal tea, obviously, and then the green tea, I'm going to get decaffeinated tea from the store. I had it before, it's fine. I'll get some more of that. And then the caffeinated tea, I'm going to have very moderately. I might have a 1 cup of caffeinated green tea in the morning just to kind of get things going. But otherwise, I'm going to try to cut the caffeine out and then see how that affects the blood pressure, see how I feel and all that kind of stuff. My caffeine intake is already pretty moderate to low because I drink half decaf. So hopefully it won't have a big change in my energy and my ability to get my job done and all that kind of good stuff. So those are the changes going forward. Mostly I'm in a holding pattern. I want to clamp down and make sure I'm following the plan better so we can really try out the plan to see if it gives me the results I want or if we need to tweak some things. So that's what this next week is going to be. All right, now we are going to lower the desk down and take the shirt off for our show and tell, as we do at the end of every one of these weekly videos. And here we are. We'll do the suck it in first. I always do the suck it in first, right there. And then we'll go for the side view. So you can see where the waist is sitting and all that kind of stuff. So, and then we're going to try to relax a little bit. Relax. And turn it to the side. Relaxing. Yeah, baby. All right, I need to show these. I need to get these things to show. I got these muscles and they don't show. Ah.